Welcome to the BodPod, the podcast where everybody is welcome. I'm your host, Rachel K. Grimm, and each week we welcome old and new friends to talk all things body image, self-love, and confidence. This is the BodPod. Let's hear it for today's sponsor, Shapermint. They have the best everyday confidence-boosting supportive wear. From smoothing camis to wire-free bras, they're comfortable, supportive for every body and every style. They're on sale now for up to 70% off, and for BodPod listeners, use code BodPod for an extra 10% off. Get your confidence boost at shapermint.com. Hey BodPod squad, I'm Rachel K. Grimm, the confidence coach behind Ditch the Click and your new BodPod host. Every week from my cutie little Brooklyn apartment, I'll be chatting all things body confidence with you and plan to bring you inspiring tips from some of your favorites in the space too. And who better to kick it off with than your OG BodPod host, Brie. Let's get this party started, Brie.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Rachel. I am so excited to be passing the torch to you in your totally cute apartment. I know I already mentioned that when you got on the call, but I definitely have some envy. I live with a boy, so I feel like I'm a little bit limited in how pink I can make a space, but I have my pink mic and I'm excited to be here.
I love it. To be honest, this is my pink corner. Everything pink lives here. So I totally feel that. You know, I already told you I love that pink mic you have going on. I need to add that to my pink space. But thank you so much for being here. I feel so honored to get to have this conversation with you. And I was listening back to some of the past episodes you've done. And I think one of my favorite questions that you really asked a lot of those who were listening in, what body confidence means to them. And all of their responses were so on point and unique to them. And I thought it would be really fun to flip the script and kind of ask you that question that you've been asking people for so long. What does body confidence mean to you? You and I both know there's no right answer. It's like personal, and we want to know what it means to you.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like I've been inspired by so many of the amazing people that I've chatted with about body confidence. And you're right, there is no one answer, but the kind of one through thought for a lot of people in this space, and for me personally, is that it is a journey, right? It's not a destination. It's like playing a video game. You unlock one level and it opens up a whole new world for you to explore. But for me, really, my journey with body confidence is about tuning out the BS that we get every single day from the media, from society. And that can be really hard to do. It can be really hard to kind of sort through all the messages that we're receiving. But I think it's simplifying it. It's focusing on yourself. It's focusing on your body. It's, loving the things about your body that you love. And there's going to be parts of your body that you don't love, that you're not obsessed with, whether that's society telling you so, whether that's just, your own biases, your own opinions, but really learning to appreciate what makes you unique and hopefully coming to a neutral place about the things that you don't love. We're not always gonna, like I said, we're not always gonna love everything about ourselves. I think it's optimistic to say that we're gonna reach a point where we love everything about ourselves. But if we can get to a place of neutrality and really worry about all the other stuff that's going on in the universe and in our lives, I think that's kind of the best place to be.
I love that answer. Honestly, I loved that you used the word neutrality, because you're so right. You can be the most body confident person and still have days or have things that you don't necessarily love, you don't necessarily feel positive about. But to get to the place of neutrality, to accept yourself exactly where you are, to me, that's body confidence too, is that acceptance right here, right now, not when I look a bit different or I reach XYZ goal. No, it's right now, finding that confidence and that appreciation for yourself in the moment. So thanks for saying that, because that is a word.
It totally is. And you look at things in our everyday lives like zits. I get terrible cystic acne. I'm allergic to dairy. I'm in a love-hate relationship with it. And I know you know what? I limit my dairy intake, but there are times where I eat the pizza and I know I'm going to get a zit the next day. And, you know, obviously society has its thoughts and feelings about pimples. For me, it's just kind of painful and, you know, I don't enjoy having it. But at the same time, I'm not going to let it derail my entire day. I'm not going to stay home. I'm not going to let it, you know, undermine my confidence. It's like we toss a little cover up on, or we don't, and we go on with our days.
Yes, that's one of the things I think is most important in a body confidence journey, is figuring out what those resources are that you go to on the days that you're having a not so confident day, right? Like when you have the moment of, okay, I do have the zit, or I'm just not loving how I'm showing up today. When you discover what body confidence is for you and you have those resources aligned for you to access, you're able to face those not so great days a bit more head on and not let it, as you said, derail your entire day or your entire life, but recognize, okay, it is just a zit and I am human and I get them and that's what it is. Yes, I have a stomach. So does every other human on this earth, you know, like it, when you tap into that journey, it's just so much, I don't know if easy is the right word, but it's just a bit more easy to work through those not great days.
Totally.
So I want to jump into us meeting prior virtually. Unfortunately, we've never met in person. I hope that day will come. Who's to say? But I think it just makes for a great conversation and a very like full circle moment of why it's so perfect that we're having this conversation together. I think because the BodPod community is familiar with you. Maybe you can tap in first to exactly like what your role was, and then we can go into how we met through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the host and producer of the BodPod, the first season of it. And it was something that I pitched to the co-founders because I recognized there was a huge opportunity to really delve deeper and really tell people's stories. You know, the wonderful thing about conferences is that you get these panels, you get these one-on-ones. But the nice thing with a podcast is that you're able to really dive deep, have these intimate conversations in a one-on-one or one-on-two setting. So I'm so thrilled with, you know, the work that we did on the first season. And I'm so thrilled that you're coming on board to host. I'm excited to pass the torch over to you. And I also worked as the program producer for the BodCon events. So A to Z of BodCon, I was there with our co-founders, making it happen. So I'm excited to be back in the space. I feel like it's been a very big year for me in a lot of ways. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have this opportunity to be one-on-one with you because our story obviously begins with the first BodCon conference with the Impact Grant, which you were a finalist for. Snaps to you for that.
I just got chills. Yes. What a throwback.
I know. I feel like this was like 10 years ago, but it wasn't. It was 2 years ago. And of course, you were one of our fabulous finalists. And you know, it was one of those things where I feel like we had so many amazing, I can't remember how many applicants we had in total, but just the stories that poured in, trying to finalize it to 5 or 6 finalists was, you know, a very difficult task, but you were one of those finalists. So let's chat a little bit about what your mission is, and give our BodPod audience, for those who aren't familiar with you, a little bit of a deeper dive into Rachel.
Absolutely. Well, you queued that up so perfectly. It's like you've done this before. What?
Once or twice.
Thank you so much for your kind words about my journey with the Impact Grant from the BodCon to now being the BodPod host. I love to do TikToks to get ready. And I, of course, did one getting ready for the podcast today. And I had to talk about, I had to share that full circle moment from the Impact Grant to now being the host, because that's exactly what it is. And to me, I really believe in being able to manifest the life that we dream. I think that manifestation also involves a lot of hard work behind it and commitment to what we want. But this, to me, is very much like that manifestation, that dream come to life. So for those who don't know, my work is through Ditch the Click, my business. I'm a confidence coach, and I provide women and men all the resources that they could ever want, particularly online and sometimes in in-person events. All about boosting that confidence. What are little things you can do in your day to make yourself just feel a bit more like the best version of yourself? One of my favorite things that I do myself, but also share with everyone that I coach, and also at every live event we do, is the concept of looking in the mirror, looking at those pimples, looking at that belly, whatever it is, and being able to look past those things that we don't necessarily love and instead literally reflect in the mirror on what it is we do love about ourselves, because there's so much more to love than to not, And I think that's so powerful to be able to say it out loud to yourself, write it down. I love to put it up on my mirror and have those stickies there, those little notes there for the days that I'm not so confident. And but I think when we're able to reflect on the things that we love about ourselves and we're able to look back at them on those not so great days, that's just a confidence boost that we all need. And so that's kind of a very small premise of what I do at Ditch the Click. Also, all the time on Instagram, on TikTok, giving all the confidence boosting, empowering resources. But the reason that this particularly is so full circle is when I had applied for the BodCon grant, like you said, at the BodCon's first time ever doing that, I applied thinking, I know that I have such a positive, impactful, confidence-boosting mission, right? And this grant will allow me the opportunity to share that positive, impactful, confidence-boosting mission on a greater level. Because I believe that all people deserve to have that goodness just flooding their eyes, their ears, their life. And so to me, I was like, that's what it is. I get this grant that allows me to do it. So obviously, like anyone else, when you don't win, you're a little bit disappointed. But I was like, wow, the person who got it, they were meant to have it. Incredible mission, doing great things. And I was like, you know what? This was amazing. I met so many great people. I'm cheering for the BodCon. We'll continue to go to events, which I did. I remember you invited Ditch the Click as a community to come to other BodCon events. And I just cheered on from afar and was involved, met some incredible women who I still connect with online through those events, through the chat rooms. And then the BodCon came to me and said, what about the BodPod? And I was like, wait, what? I've heard Brie on this. This is wild. So to now be in a place where this positive, confidence boosting, impactful mission that I have can now be in people's ears, can be seen with people's eyes through a platform that is just doing incredible things and has been for so many years, to be involved in this level, honestly, is even better than I could have ever imagined when I was applying for the Impact Grant. So very full circle. And that's a lot about me, but hopefully it gives a little bit more insight into what I do and how we met. Because we hadn't even met like this until recently. And that felt like a little bit of a celeb moment. It's like, wow, this is Brie in real life.
Coming live from my office. Celebrities, they're just like us. No, well, thank you. I'm so excited for for you. And I think it's one of those, I'm a very big believer in, kind of the universe working in mysterious ways. And I think like not winning the grant, the winner of the grant was Everybody on Stage, which is a fabulous organization. Everybody should go take a look at that if you're not familiar with it.
And you have an episode. There's a past episode with Everybody on Stage, which would be so good to tune back into.
Absolutely. We love a callback. But yes, so many amazing people doing so much in this space. So I'm excited to see what you do at the BodPod.
Bree, again, perfect segue. Let's talk a little bit about BodCon 2023. We're so excited to announce that it is here. We even have some early bird tickets on sale, but I think the most fun way to talk about it would maybe to chat some of our favorite highlights from the past BodCons. I know I shed a little light on being in some of those breakout sessions last year. There are definitely people that I'm still connected with on Instagram. We truly are always chatting either in DMs or in comments, hyping each other up. And if it hadn't have been for the BodCon, I wouldn't have met them. Those breakout rooms were amazing, but I'm sure too, from your perspective, you have so many great highlights from past BodCon events.
Yep, absolutely. The BodCon Social Club, that was those breakout rooms you're talking about. I hosted, and it was, side note, one of my favorite parts of the day as well, because you did get a chance to connect with people. And I am just like you. I met so many amazing people that, again, the world works in mysterious ways. You kind of connect with people. And I feel like that's really the power of this virtual space, right? You connect with people from all over the world, all different walks of life, all on the same mission. But so those who didn't attend the 2022 or the 2021 conference, the BodCon is a full day of interviews, panels, activities, and networking. We, for the past events, brought together some incredible speakers. We had Sarah Nicole Landry of the Birth Papaya as a host, Danae Mercer. We had Jamila Jamil. We've had folks like Hunter McGrady, so many amazing people in this space come together. So I'm super excited for 2023. I have a feeling it's going to be the best conference yet. I think the community has grown. The community is hungry, especially as we've gotten out of this pandemic at home lockdown space. Everybody's kind of re-entered the world. And for a lot of us, I think we're really relearning what it means to be out and about. And you know what? There's been a lot of changes to people's bodies over the last couple of years. People have gained weight. People have lost weight. People have had babies, right? Like people have suffered grief. There's been trauma. There's been highlights, I'm sure, for a lot of people. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how those conversations happen in 2023 now coming into that different time.
Yes, you're so right. Like who we were 2 years ago is not us anymore. We're a new version of ourselves. And to now be able to step into those conversations as this version of us is going to be so powerful. I mean, I remember sitting in my bed crying, listening to some of the speakers, good tears, because it's the like relatable, like, oh my goodness, like, this is the word I needed to hear. They're speaking it directly to me. Just the most incredible speakers. And I know it's going to be so impactful again this year. And like you said, really reach all of us where we need it most. So yes, BodCon 2023 tickets are on sale now. Early bird tickets are on sale. Highly recommend signing up and having conversations like this at you all day long.
And we love an early bird pricing. Right? We love it. We love a deal. We love a steal. So super excited for 2023. But we are coming to the end of 2022, which feels wild to say. Let's chat about the end of the year, right? We've got the holidays right around the corner. So let's chat about that coming into the new year.
Yes. I used to be someone who wasn't a huge holiday gal. I think, sometimes, whether it's the way you were raised or things you've been through, the holidays can be either really exciting or really not. And I've worked really hard to reframe what the holidays and the new year mean for me. And I have to say, Thanksgiving was one of the most positive I've had yet. And I look forward to the rest of the holidays being that. And I have to say, I think one of the reasons it was so positive is I went into it. Again, first time really reconnecting with family, having those like sit down family meals because we hadn't been able to do that for so long. To go in with some boundaries set onto the conversations I'm willing to have about my body, about what's on my plate. I felt very much more in tune with myself and more powerful going into it and just truly confident. And I'm curious, I don't know if that's where you wanted to go with the holiday chat, but I'm curious like how you navigate the holidays, you know, in general, but also surrounding the conversation of body confidence.
You know, I've had a weird, wonderful, wacky year, for lack of a better way to describe it. Full of, you know, those peaks and valleys. I was actually given the opportunity to work with my fiance, for my full-time job. I started my own side business.
Congrats.
I got engaged. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. We're planning a wedding. So, you know, I feel like it's been, like I said, a huge year. I feel like my body confidence journey, like I was chatting about earlier, you know, I kind of unlocked that new level. So I'm really going into 2023 with a lot of gratitude for what I've done this year, what my body has done, what my body and self have been through. And I think it's interesting going into those holidays because, like you said, we sometimes forget that they are a tough time for people, and they can be tough for various reasons. And you don't need it to be tough for your body confidence journey as well. You know, there's so much going on in the world, and I think my number one thing with holidays is you don't owe anyone anything. You know, keep that in the back of your mind. You don't owe anyone an explanation for what is on your plate. You do not owe anybody an explanation for what you look like, what you're wearing, how you react to things, your emotions, right? You don't owe anybody an explanation for any of that. And I think that can be something that, you know, for a lot of us who go back home to our parents' place, to family's place, our grandparents, and we almost revert back. For those of us who don't live at home, we can often revert back into old habits, right? Our authority figures or our parents are always right, or feeling like we need to answer when somebody asks us a question. You don't. You really, really don't.
I love what you said, and it's so relatable. I know for myself, and I think for so many other people, the way you said that we revert back into past habits, past conversations, especially with family. And something that as I said, I found this year to be very powerful in ways. And I think one of the reasons it was so powerful is those boundaries, but also kind of starting a new conversation, not letting it be the old conversation, but starting anew, not just for myself, but for my family too, you know, challenging my mom to talk about her body differently, my aunts to talk about their bodies differently, you know, not talk about their bodies negatively, not feel bad for what's on their plate, but recognize like how great we get to sit around this table and all eat together. You know, I think a lot of it is a simple mindset shift, and being able to do that can be a struggle, but is not just powerful personally, but for everyone in your circle. And I also want to say, maybe not today, but we might have to have you back to talk about the whole journey of being a bride and body confidence, because that is another level.
I'm like, how much time do you have? I think the big thing with conversations during the holiday is, like we were chatting about earlier, how it is a journey. Have those conversations with people. Be open to having those conversations if you feel comfortable tackling that, but also recognizing every single person is on their own journey. So some people might not be open to having that conversation. Some people might not be swayed. So sometimes it's picking your battles a little bit to say, you know what, I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to say, I don't want to talk about my body. And it's suggesting that, you know, to your mom, your aunts, that they don't chat about negative body image in general, or when it's around you, but also recognizing, you know, especially for those older generations, they have many, many more years steeped in diet culture. that requires some unlearning. So sometimes it's a bit of patience, and it's a bit of understanding that, you can plant the seed, you can water it, but it's going to grow on its own time.
Absolutely. Beautifully said, Brie. I love it. Like you said, it takes time to get there with those conversations to make that progress. But to what you said at the very beginning, body confidence is a journey. It's a journey for me, for you, for our moms, as you said, that older generation, but also having the conversations we're having set up a new stage and a new standard for younger generations too. I see a lot of my cousins have children, and getting to see them with their children and just the different ways that they interact with their kids, and the conversations that they have coming from a place of just, I don't know, setting more boundaries, just absolutely beautiful. And I'm excited, not just what it looks like for us and for our parents' generation and beyond, but also for the younger generations, just being able to keep that conversation going in a new way.
And recognizing how deliberate you need to be when you are chatting with those future generations, right? Rephrasing how we say things, or recognizing if there's things that were said to us when we were younger, we don't need to repeat that. We can break those cycles, and tis the season to break those cycles.
Yeah. What better time too? Like you said, we're going into the new year, the best version of ourselves already. So why not end it with a bang at the holidays? Okay, I want to shift into the shapewear conversation. I'm really, really excited about this one, to be honest. So speaking of BodCon 2023, the title sponsor of this year's conference is Shapermint, which is a shapewear brand that I personally love. I'm actually wearing, you can't see, but I'm wearing one of the Shapermint Bodysuits underneath my little outfit. It makes me feel really confident, comfortable, and I don't have to wear a bra, which I love. So I'm obsessed, but it leads me to wanting to have the conversation with you about things like shapewear. And I say things like shapewear because I think it's not the only topic that is sometimes a hot take on we love it or we don't in the body confidence space. Like I said, I love it for multiple reasons. I don't necessarily use it as something to hide parts of my body, but to feel more confident, to feel like I am showing up the best version of myself. Makes me feel a little snatched right where I want it to. Like, I already know I have some nice curves here. I want to accentuate them more. I'm curious your take on it, because I know I'm a fan, but I know it is a hot take in the body confidence space.
Absolutely. There's a lot of kind of contrasting ideologies when it comes to things like shapewear, like makeup, like plastic surgery, all of these different things that I guess alter our bodies, our appearance. On my end of things, I guess it's the why behind things, right? It's why do we want to wear makeup? Why do we want to get plastic surgery? Why do we want to wear shapewear? And, you mentioned a bra earlier, right? I am happy to go braless. I'm happy to wear a bra. Sometimes I put on a certain outfit and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'd feel more confident wearing a bra, right? I don't have to wear a bra, but that's my personal prerogative. And I think shapewear falls into that category where, sometimes it's nice to put on something the same way I put on pantyhose. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I like the way that this feels. I feel more confident stepping out in this. I think ultimately, no matter what you do to your body, it's nobody else's prerogative what you do with your body. If you want to wear makeup, wear makeup. If you want to wear shapewear. Nobody can tell you that you can't do that. It is your body. It is your choice. I think it's just being conscientious of the why. Are you wearing shapewear to hide your tummy? Or are you wearing shapewear because you like the way it feels and you like the way that your dress looks when you put it on over top? Right? Like, I think it's having those conversations and being open to those conversations. I think you're right. It's not a black and white, good, bad. It's all shades of gray, the same way that dyeing your hair or plucking your eyebrows, putting fake lashes on, right? Like any of those things.
Yeah. You're so right. Taking it back to our conversation about our families and setting boundaries around conversations with our bodies, what's on our plate. I think it almost falls under the same umbrella of we don't necessarily need other people to be speaking on our bodies, speaking on what we're putting into our bodies. We also don't need other people speaking on what we wear, our makeup, our shapewear. Like that is all our personal prerogative. It's what we want, what makes us feel good. And if it makes us feel good, we should be able to wear it. We should be able to wear shapewear, makeup, whatever it is, without someone else feeling the need to speak on it.
And aren't you tired of people's opinions, right? You are never, no matter what you do, no matter what you wear, no matter what you put on your body, you are never going to be pretty enough, thin enough, strong enough, tall enough, short enough, whatever it is in some people's eyes. You are never going to please absolutely everybody. Everybody is always going to have an opinion, no matter if you put on 10 pounds of makeup, you wear no makeup at all. You dye your hair blonde, you wear shapewear, you get a Brazilian butt lift, you don't get a Brazilian butt lift. No matter what you do, there is always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you look like, who you are, whatever, right? There's so many people in this world, it's inevitable. So if you can just block out some of that nonsense, some of that BS, and focus on what you want and why you want it, I think if we could do that, we'd all be a lot more confident.
Absolutely. Something that I remind myself of a lot, I say to myself in the mirror, or just out and about, I'm not for everyone, but I know that I'm for someone, right? Like I know that I am for me. I know that I am for my partner. I know that I am for my circle, my community. And these people all love me just the way I am. And they'd love me if I wore shapewear or not, or if I wore makeup or not, right? But I want to find that acceptance with me too. And if it makes me feel good and confident about myself, about my body, there we go. And the people that I love, my people, will be happy for me with that too. It's so hard it's so difficult to block out the noise, but when you're able to block it out, it is just a much happier, more confident life.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but you are enough. The way that you are enough. And if that's the one takeaway that people get from this episode, it's that you are enough.
There it is. Episode title, You Are Enough.
And I'm excited for the conversations. I think they are conversations that are important to have. They're important to talk about. And like we were saying earlier, it's not white and black. And not everybody's going to have that same prerogative. There are going to be people out there who say that shapewear is supporting the patriarchy and, in the same way that body modifications are and anything like that. There is never going to be a consensus on these issues. And we can't accept there to be a consensus on these issues. Just look at the state of the world, look at the state of politics everywhere. There will never be a consensus, right? But if we can at least push the needle forward by having these conversations and opening up the space for these conversations in a safe space like the BodCon, the world's going to be a better place for it.
Yes. And Brie, to what you said, it's never comfortable. Like those conversations aren't comfortable. They don't necessarily feel good. They're sometimes a little bit cringy, but they're always worth it because it gives perspective. It helps you figure out what is right for you, what maybe isn't right for you. And the BodCon definitely has created a safe space to have those uncomfortable conversations. And so, like you said, I look forward to seeing those conversations around things like shapewear develop in BodCon this year too.
And it's okay to be uncomfortable. I think that's something that we forget, right? Like nobody wants to be uncomfortable. The majority of us don't seek out those situations that are going to make us uncomfortable. But I think ultimately those are often the best learning moments, right? Those are what you remember. They stick with you.
Yes. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I would say for myself, the most growth I've ever had in my life has come from moments that I've been uncomfortable, or when I've made uncomfortable decisions, or always obviously looking out for my safety and well-being, but like maybe doing something that seems a little bit scary. I mean, heck, even hopping on here on the microphone to chat with you. Girl, you've been like doing this for so long. You have a whole season behind you. That's scary. That's uncomfortable. But like I said at the beginning, this is what I've been wanting, right? Like I've been wanting that platform, so I have to get uncomfortable and get behind the mic and do it. And it might not be perfect, but I learn along the way, and that's what it's all about.
And just like your Post-it notes, right? You give yourself those reminders. You give yourself your pep talks. You drink your latte. You get that sleep. You eat that food that's going to nourish yourself. You do those things and you push through it. And you know what? I'm excited 50 episodes from now for you just to see your thoughts and feelings on it.
Bree, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for that. I'm so happy that you're here and that we get to have this conversation together. It's such a great way to kick off season 2.
Absolutely.
We will have to have you back to have that conversation about being a bride and body confidence / have you back in general for episodes in the future. You are just such a wave maker in this space, and this conversation alone has been so powerful, I know, to me, and I'm confident to so many people listening too.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel. It's been so fun to have a chance to be one-on-one with you finally, after all this time, to be able to connect. I am super excited to be coming back and doing some guest hosting, but I'm also so excited to be tuning in to hear all of your episodes and all the amazing talks that you're going to have with people in this space, because I feel like there are just so many people in this space that have so much important words to share with the community. So I'm so excited for that. I'm excited for BodCon 2023. And I feel like there's just so much coming down the pipeline. It's just all good things.
Like you said earlier, this next year is bound to be the best yet. Like this one has been so great, such an opportunity for growth for us, for the BodCon, for so many people in the BodPod community listening. So if there is someone that you want to hear from, or a specific topic that you want to hear us chat about on the podcast, or even at the BodCon, if there's someone particular you want to hear from, we have an incredible lineup of speakers. But if there's someone really on your mind that you'd love to hear them give a panel discussion, we would love to hear from you. So for sure, hit us up at the BodCon on Instagram. We'll definitely be checking those DMs to see who you send our way and what topics you send our way too. And don't forget that the BodCon 2023 early bird tickets are now live. We cannot wait to see you there. I know I'm just thrilled about those conversations, Bree. It's going to be our conversation times 200 at BodCon 2023.
I can't wait.
Me too. Well, Bree, I'm hesitant to let you go because I could truly talk to you all day long. Like we said, 10 more episodes or a 10-hour episode coming your way. But for now, it has been incredible to chat with you, just to hear your perspective on so many things, to have a very confidence boosting conversation with you that I know just made me feel so great, and I know is going to just be so good for everyone listening too. If there's anything you want to share with us yet, go for it.
I'm just super excited for the year ahead. I'm super excited to be back with the BodCon team doing some amazing stuff. And I can't wait for what's in store for the BodPod, for the BodCon. And thank you so much for having me today. It was great to chat with you.
You too. I can't wait for more conversations, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, Bree. Thanks so much for joining us today on the BodPod. We release new episodes every week, and we're available on all podcast streaming platforms and now YouTube too. Subscribe to our channels to be the first to know. Want to talk all things body confidence, enter amazing giveaways, and hear updates about the BodCon 2023? Find us on Instagram at the BodCon. My name's Rachel K. Grimm, and I'll see you next week.